Greetings, Earthlings. Man, today was a bit of a surprise for August. Woke up a little late, 5 o'clock, and it was 77 degrees. Most of the time it's high 80s, 90s, and at noon today it'll be 90 something. The humidity's down to about 50% right now. As you can see, I'm up at the beach. Hardly anyone here. August, pretty dead. A lot of businesses close in August because it costs more money to run the air conditioner under commercial rates than it does to open and have very few people. A lot of the parks are shut down, or people have gone, the snowbirds. It's just pretty unpleasant here August and September. About October 20th, the weather will break and we'll have 8 months of beautiful weather. So today I'm going to talk to you, I think, about Simp John. Simp John was a gentleman who had the emotional quotient of an adolescent who used to live down here. But I'm going to wait and do that a little bit later when we get back to the hacienda. It's really pretty pleasant out, so I need to kind of enjoy being out here as long as I can before the blazing hot sun and humidity kick my booty. Alright, stay tuned, stay tuned. Okay, so I think I changed my mind. I am going to go ahead and do Simp John video right here. I've switched cameras. I'm now using the OnePlus 11, and I'm really liking this phone so far. I haven't really gotten into all the settings yet, but it's actually pretty cool. But anyway, let me get on to Simp John. About 2 years ago, Simp John came down to Rocky Point here to live in our compound. A nice guy, really a nice guy, about 67 years old, not in the best of health. He's had a couple of strokes, a couple heart attacks. I know he had a couple of failed relationships, and haven't we all? And he wore his emotions on his sleeve. Very friendly, but I'm a pretty reserved person. I don't really, go out of my way to ingratiate myself on people. I don't particularly think I'm an introvert. I just don't get anybody's business and don't want them in mine. So Simp John used to get a little annoyed at me because I'd get on my bike and ride out of the compound, and I'd wave, but I wouldn't really stop and engage him at all. And then he'd go and complain that I was an unfriendly fuck. Holy Christ, I've got people staring at me like I'm a weirdo. Maybe I am. Anyway, he'd go and complain, oh, this guy's he's mean-spirited. And one day I just had to stop him and say, hey, listen, if you had something to say to me, just come to me and say it, and I'll probably be able to, discuss the issue with you like an adult, and you might come away with a different understanding. And he was amenable to that. John had disclosed that he had been in the Philippines living and had an ex-wife there who had taken him for everything. It's not an uncommon story. Personally, I tend to look at these things from a man's perspective that, you got to be in control of your stuff. I know you're going to be angry at a woman or all women because something bad happened to you, but the reality is it's on you, man. You're going to have to figure out what's going on with your life. So John allegedly lost everything, came back to the United States, bought himself a place, and there is no lack of attention of women down here if you want it. You got to pay for it, and that was a revolving door where he was at, and so was the pharmacy. where, he would go get his blue pills to help him take care of business. And I'm telling you, there were women in and out of that place. And his constant refrain was, I want to find a girlfriend. I just want to find a girlfriend. I think John was a little confused as to his value as a man. I think he was a little confused as to, what he actually brings to the table. Because at 67 years old, finding a girlfriend doesn't, I don't know, to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's okay to have women that are friends and you can go out and do stuff with, but the romantic side of things doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, especially when, the women that you're courting, are 20, 30 years younger than you, and they want to get in and out of your place as quick as possible, give them the money, and a lot of times, they want to get in and out so they can go down and get that next hit of meth or ice or whatever the hell they want to call it these days. So John, he used to be pretty disenfranchised with me because I just wouldn't pay any attention to him. And I'm not, people that have adolescent personalities, I really don't want to spend a lot of time with them anyway. I don't drink much, very often. Hardly ever at all. And he did. And he would sit out there at the front gate with the other weirdos and drink to excess and act like a horse's ass. 67 years old. John would get on these dating sites, and I think at least one of them was the Facebook dating site. And at one point in time, he I guess got to talking to some girl in Ensenada, which is 7-8 hour drive from here. And he did a 2-day run from here to Ensenada, met up with this girl, and as it turns out, as it often does, the photos that he was dealing with were at least 10 years old, and she was 150 pounds heavier than the photos had dictated. He, of course, did not bother to do FaceTime. Maybe he didn't want his continence to be seen. Certainly she didn't. People get on the internet and they lie about stuff. So getting on there and doing a video chat is really, really a good idea if that's what you're going to do. I personally discourage getting on the internet and dating sites in particular because they're dangerous for a whole bunch of different reasons. So after about a year of living here, John decided that in spite of his bad experiences in the Philippines, he was going to go back and try it again. And I think what happened was that he was, of course, on dating sites again, but he was talking to his ex-wife, and he wound up going to the Philippines and hooking up with her, and within 6 months had done the same thing he had done before, bought a house, everything was in her name, and he wound up on the outs again and had to get out of there and came back to the United States. The last I heard, he was sleeping on somebody's couch in Ohio. That's on him. You got to be smart about your life. There are people out there that are certainly going to take advantage of you if you let them. Now, I don't ever blame women for bad things that happen. Relationships fail no matter what. Even when you get things in common with somebody, relationships fail. Things just go bad. Well, the last we heard, he was back in the Philippines again. I've said it before on other people's channels that this is all about validation. People, old men, old women, they get lonely and they wind up doing incredibly stupid stuff to try to get some kind of validation from someone. Look, I'm alive. I have value. I mean something. I'm a good catch. I'm a good person. And then they wind up, getting caught up because they never addressed the issues that caused the previous relationships to fail. And to me, that just means, you're doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. So if you watch any of the channels of expats, passport bros going to the Philippines, I think it's a cautionary tale that if you don't take care of your business that caused, your financial ruin, your emotional ruin, your marriage ruin, all the things that went bad for you, if you don't take care of your business, you're just going to wind up in another country going through the same crap that you went through in the United States or in Mexico or wherever you are. Which brings me to dating in Mexico. You're going to have to define that word dating. For me, it means, spending time with someone with the potential of it leading to a long-term romantic relationship. I'm not cut out that way. That's not for me. Might be for some other people, but we're going to talk about that in another session.